Hey, what's up everybody? Arik Jackson hitting you up, and today's video is called A User's Guide to Building Self-Esteem as a Teen. That actually rhymes. A user's guide to building self-esteem for teens. Yes! All right, so check it out, y'all. Many of you all know, maybe this is your first time seeing me, but I have the opportunity to travel all across the globe, and I get to work with teens, high school, from grade 9 to grade 12, those teenagers who are going into college, those who are fresh teenagers, meaning new, they just went from 12 to 13, and even those who are a little bit younger or even a little bit older. And one of the number one things that people ask me about is self-esteem. How do they improve their self-esteem? And you know, they look at me, you see me on stage, I'm just doing me, and I'm doing me unapologetically, but don't get it twisted. I wasn't always this comfortable in my own self-esteem. You know, even as an adult, I've had times when I've questioned myself. Was I good enough? Did I look good enough? I'm too fat, I'm too this, I'm not, you know, no one's gonna like me. And I went through all of that, but believe it or not, there are some things that I've been able to do, some things that I've taught other people to do in order to improve upon their self-esteem. First of all, the key word to self-esteem is this: self, meaning it is all about you. And what I mean by that, unfortunately, a lot of times, a lot of teenagers base their self-esteem off of other people. Really, when you just look at self-esteem, it's awareness about self, and it's about those thoughts that you have. And unfortunately, sometimes our thoughts are jaded or clouded by what somebody else said, how somebody else said we should look, how somebody else said we should dress, who we should hang out with, how we shouldn't walk, how we shouldn't talk, what group of people we should or should not hang out with. But the thing about building the self-esteem, first of all, you got to realize it's up to you. And when I say it's up to you, it starts with your thoughts. We have this voice in the back of our head that's talking 24/7. Yes, sometimes we're able to silence it, sometimes we're not. And sometimes, especially in embarrassing situations or situations where we just don't feel comfortable, it is on 10. So I want to give you some steps, and I call it a user's guide because it's fairly simple, but if you take this, whether you're 13 or 130, like, you can actually use this to improve upon your self-esteem. So number one is this: discover and own your superpower. What is your superpower? So for me, growing up, I'm just gonna be real. My superpower, I grew up in a neighborhood where it was all about basketball because Michael Jordan was the thing back then. And you know, I lived in Chicago, so of course you had to be like Jordan. If you weren't Jordan, you were Scottie Pippen. If you weren't Scottie Pippen, you were Dennis Rodman. And here's the thing, I tried to find my superpower in that. I sucked at basketball. I sucked at sports overall. But what happened is, I would say around the age of 12, 13 years old, I discovered that I was very creative. I had a way of using words. I was great on stage. And then I started being a part of school plays and stuff like that. And what ended up happening was I found my superpower. And that superpower was presenting to people and being able to use my words to make a difference with people. And that continues to be my superpower today, which is exactly why I'm doing it. So when you own what your superpower is, you're very clear that owning your superpower, it's all about you, because nobody can own your superpower. That's number one. Number two is this: surround yourself with people who look out for you. I know in high school, people try to fit in with other people. Look, if these people don't have your best interests at heart, if they're not looking out for you, if they're not somebody who sees you having a bad day and willing to remind you of your superpower or how great you are, they don't belong in your circle. So you need to surround yourself with people. I don't care if it's your friend, I don't care if it's your best auntie. Find somebody, put somebody in your group who's gonna look out for you. Number three is this: remind other people of their superpowers. You have people in your life right now who you see them, maybe they're kind, maybe they're creative, maybe they're athletic, maybe they can sing their big toes off. Whatever that is, you wanna be that person in their life to remind them of their superpower. And believe it or not, what happens is when you remind them of their superpower, when you're having an off day, they remind you of yours. So that's why it works, to remind them. And then finally, the last thing I want to say is be kind to people. Listen, Being kind is being proactive. Being nice is reactive. So being kind to people is gonna make that difference. And when you're kind to people, it comes back around. And believe it or not, it builds your self-esteem. So number one, discover your superpower. Number two, surround yourself with people who are gonna support you and the greater good of you. Number three, remind people of their superpower. And number four, be kind. Y'all, this is Ari Jackson. That is my user's guide for building your self-esteem. What step are you taking today? Peace.